you're trained in TCM, Western herbalism, and various other systems. And I was recently having a conversation with someone who is a Spanish speaker, and they'll think their words in the Spanish language, but they're bilingual. And I'm just kind of curious. I've always been curious about this. You seem like the perfect person to ask. When you're with a client, do certain modalities just kind of jump out to you as to how to treat that particular person, or is it kind of a blend, or how does that work for you?
Well, there is a certain blending in the sense of my materia medica. I probably use on a pretty consistent basis, at least around, 300 different plants. And then I probably know more, maybe double that,
Right.
Possibly. And there's some I hardly ever use, but I have some familiarity with. And then there's some plants I've just never developed a strong relationship with, and I just don't use much. And then there's other ones I use a lot. But the thing is that, so it doesn't matter to me whether a plant comes from China or India or Africa or North America or South America or wherever, as long as I can access it in a good way. It's, preferably organically grown or at least consciously wildcrafted. I mean, I'm certainly have a preference for plants that are local in the sense they don't have to be shipped around the world, but I'll use whatever medicine makes sense for that person. It doesn't matter what tradition it comes from. As long as you understand the plant and its energetics, you can do that. But then when I do an intake on somebody, what happens is certain things start standing out. And let's say I have multiple pairs of glasses that I wear. And so if somebody presents with like chronic weak knees, weak ankles, low back pain, fatigue, lack of libido, from a Western perspective, it's a bunch of symptoms that don't have any relationship to each other. From a TCM perspective, it's deficient kidney yang. So now I'm thinking, okay, so that's how I may not necessarily just use Chinese herbs, because I know Western herbs you can use for that too. But so it's whatever pattern makes the most sense to me is basically how I approach it. And sometimes it's a mix of patterns. So some of them make more sense, from a Western perspective, some from a TCM perspective, or a Southeastern folk tradition perspective, or the eclectics, all of traditions that I work within. But I would say to a great degree, more often than not, when I am working with somebody, there'll be a sort of a clear presentation that makes sense more from one perspective than the others. And that's sort of will be my rationale for my treatment. The herbs can be from anywhere.